Hello everyone, and welcome to another beer review. Now, today I'm actually up in Scotland, although I will be back down to Devon by tomorrow. But yes, I'm up in Scotland, and while I was wandering about Scotland for the last few days, and wandering is probably a good way of putting it, I ended up in some supermarkets. And one of the ones I ended up in was Aldi. Not through choice, I'll be totally honest, it wasn't through choice. It wasn't as a case of, it was like an Aldi day today, you know. It wasn't that way. It was the wife. I was actually at B&Q and she dragged me over to Aldi because she needed to get some things. Because it was convenient, because it was close to the B&Q. So, as per usual, I had a wee wander about the beer section, which is always depressing because you're looking at it thinking, what the fuck is this? You know? And I've noticed the Gaudier kind of coloured cans are becoming more and more in Aldi. And I was looking about and it's like, you know, it's just the same old kind of partners in crime, you know, you've got all the crap, basically. And it really is. So some of the beers and everything else is just kind of crap. And you're thinking, oh God, seriously. And then something caught my eye. And I laughed when I seen it. And I honestly don't know if this is for sale in England or is it only in Scotland. But I don't know, it might be also available in England. I just thought if it is, that's just quite funny, you know, because I'm thinking. Because what epitomises good quality lager is a Scottish lager. Seriously. So this is Hendry's Scottish lager, crisp, refreshing lager. And I'm just thinking, is this available? I need to go down next time I'm down in Devon. I'll need to pop into Aldi and see if it's available down there as well. Because if it is available in England, it's amazing because are people actually buying this thinking, hey, Scots, renowned for making good lagers, you know what I mean? Tenants. It's a fucking pinnacle, you know? Thinking seriously. So yeah, out of all the ones you could pick, Scottish, you know, seriously. Oh, the name of God. And it's 3.4%, so that boat is pushed off. It's left the shore, it's been pushed out so much. I mean, seriously, pushing the boat out with this one. There's no spill in the back because, well, what can you really say, you know? It's written there on the front. I mean, less is more, as they say. Well, at 3.4%, we're going to find out. Seriously. But yeah, and people are looking at me, I'm standing in the beauty. What's he did? He's laughing at it. This guy's lost it. He's a nutcase. And they're probably right. But yeah, I'm looking at this thinking, Scottish lager, you know, I'm not looking at it thinking. Although, at one point, in the 90s, well, actually for a few years in the 90s, McEwen's lager was the #1 selling lager in the UK. Now, they wouldn't have got that just by selling it in Scotland, so it had to be getting sold in England as well, at least, and doing well. You know, when it's being sold in England. So maybe they're harking back to the days of Alive and Kicking was the tagline for your McEwen's lager. Alive and Kicking. Yeah. Well, that's good, isn't it? That's the phone kicking off now. Stop that. You shits. Oh, Jesus God, you see me. It's unbelievable. But yeah, Alive and Kicking. I think that's what basically what some of the poor wives used to get when the husband came home from a night on the old McEwen's lager. I think it was the original kind of wife beater just before Stella came along. But let's crack this open. It's 3.4%. It's 440ml can. I can't remember. I bought a 4-pack of it. It was around about £4. I'll give the accurate, but it was not really much more than £4 or under £4 for a 4-pack. Let's just say it wasn't breaking the bank, you know. You know, it's what I like about these type of beers is, you know, it's premium quality for dog shit money, you know. Anyway, let's get this cracked open and see what it takes us. Just when I seen that Scottish lager, and I'm thinking, oh, here we go. It still tickles me, that one. Really does, because, yeah, coming for Scotland, we're renowned for quality lagers. You know, don't mind your Germans, don't mind your Czech. But you want to swallow the Scotch stuff. That's where it's at. Seriously. Fucking hell. Right, there we go. For people on the podcast, urine sample kind of springs to mind. It's a one finger head. It's very clear. It's a light kind of pale straw colour. It's very clear. Quite light in the carbonation, as you kind of noticed. It's not kind of mental, you know. You know, like when a drinker would go mental drinking the McEwen's lager. But anyway, smell. Not really much, very just a kind of generic smell. Surprised enough. Yeah, it's just a kind of generic smell, nothing untoward or... One good thing, I'm not really getting a chemical smell. That doesn't mean there isn't a chemical taste, but I'm not really getting it in the aroma, which I would probably expect to a certain degree. Although 3.4%, was it 3.4? Was it 3.8? It's 3.4, so you might not get chemical at all, maybe it's too low for that. But yeah, slightly metallic aroma, which is kind of normal for Scottish lagers. And yeah, slightly kind of, you know, a light grain smell, that's all. No malt really coming through, none of that, nothing. And that's it. And look, the head's starting to dissipate already, look at that. You know, it's gone from a one finger head to a sliver. There you go. So, let's see what this tastes like. A little bit of light sweetness, a little bit of grain, and that's it. Nothing else. Ah. It's very generic. There's a light lager taste, a little bit of bitterness at the end, just a teeny little bit in the aftertaste. And that's really it. It's just a very kind of generic, light, kind of grainy lager flavour, or lager-esque kind of flavour. But it's mostly about the grain, a little bit of sweetness, and a teensy little bit of bitterness just in the aftertaste, and that's it. It's very neutral, which I suppose I could understand at 3.4%. I mean, let's be totally honest, you're not going to expect it to set the heather on fire, you know, even if it is a Scottish lager. And they did describe it as crisp, refreshing lager. Well, maybe stretching the lager bit a little bit, I'll be totally honest, because, well, it's just about identifiable as a lager. overall, I'll be totally honest, it's a cheap supermarket lager that, let's be totally honest, there's not much effort we put into it, let's be totally honest. The interesting thing that I found about it is we did the Asda, the kind of cheap French one, and I was quite surprised that there was a bit of flavour there for the money and everything else. I was expecting to get something like this at that time, and I was quite surprised that it gave you a little bit more. Wasn't going to say it was groundbreaking or wonderful, but for the price, it had a little bit more to it than what you'd probably expect. This one is kind of bang on the money, really. You know, it's a cheap supermarket lager. It's 3.4%. So you already, if you just look at that, you're thinking, there's not really going to be much to this, really. Let's be honest, it's not going to deliver much. And that's what you're getting. It's not really delivering much. It's very kind of neutral. One of these ones where, yeah, you could get a pile in if you're having buddies round to watch the football, which God knows why you would do that, because the football's been absolutely shit. Have you been watching the Euros? It's absolutely dreadful. I'm not going to talk about England, but well. Everybody's going on about how bad's England playing and everything else. Well, at least they can actually score a goal. You know, okay, they'll let them in as well, but at least they can actually score a goal, which is what can be said for France. I mean, France hasn't even scored a goal in open play. Every one of their oppositions have nearly scored, you know, for them, but France can't do it. So they just seem to come up and say, okay, you scoff at me, okay, d'accord. Yeah, and they dutifully do it, and France go through. You know, so I would totally say that if you say England's playing bad, well, what does that say about France? It's just, oof. And we're down to, is it the semi-finals? I think the first semi-finals tonight, which this is Tuesday, so what's that? It's going to be Spain against France. And then, of course, tomorrow night you've got England versus the Netherlands. When I was younger, we used to call it Holland, but apparently you can't call it now. You can't call it Holland because that might be offensive or something like that. I don't know. It's a strange old world. There's a lot of words that you used to say and use and all that type of stuff that you can't say or use now because it's offensive. And I've done my research and I found out all these words that are apparently now offensive, and I use them a heck of a lot more now. I never really bothered with them previously, but if they're offensive now, I'm going to use them now. And I'll just put it down to nostalgia. But anyway, what would I say about the beer? Not really much. There's not really much flavour. It's very generic, nothing kind of special or groundbreaking. Crisp, would I say it's crisp? Not really, no. No. Would I say it's refreshing? I suppose on a hot summer's day and it was chilled off its arse, then yeah, probably, because if you really do chill this, you'll probably get absolutely zero flavour off it at all. So it'll just be a kind of cold, watery kind of drink. And that might be refreshing to some. I suppose you could even drop a little wedge of lemon or lime in it just to add that little bit of je ne sais quoi. But yeah, I'll be totally honest. Refreshing? Maybe a push. Lager? Well, guarantee if I put this down on the table in front of a lot of German brewers or a lot of Czech brewers and things like that, it's Scottish lager. Refreshing. I could probably say the majority of them would probably take a sip and then chuck it at me, thinking, what the fuck is that? All just fines. Would be my response. So yeah, I suppose if you want a cheap, bordering on flavourless lager, then this is right up your street. If you're looking for anything more, you're not going to get it. It's 3.4%, lacking in flavour. The flavours it does have is very kind of generic. It does actually feel, I'll be totally honest, it does have this kind of feel where it's a stronger lager diluted. It gives me that kind of vibe. Because it's very difficult to brew a lager and then you end up with this kind of neutral flavour profile. Because even if, like I said, even if you're doing a test ale or a test brew, you couldn't really get it so generic. So it makes me think that it's a stronger brew that's then basically diluted down to try and get that, and that's probably why it's down to 3.4%, because it'd be quite difficult to brew a lager at 3.4% with a lagery process and everything else. Let's be totally honest, it would be very, very difficult. So that's makes you think is the normal thing is what they'll do is they'll brew a stronger normal lager and then dilute it down, which will give you the yield. So it'll give you a far better yield, and of course you can kind of neutralise the flavours as well. And this is what it really feels like. It's kind of disappointing and kind of very much of a muchness. So yeah, nothing great, nothing special. So what would I give this out of 10? Well, price-wise, it's cheap. But this is the problem. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's good. And it's not good. So there's your first problem. So you can say, its first pro is also its first con. So the first pro is cheap for 4 cans. Con-wise, well, there's a reason it's cheap. And it's not because you're getting premium quality or premium ingredients. You're getting neither of these. So there's also its con. And yeah, flavour-wise, very neutral, very generic, and fairly weak as well, let's be totally honest. It doesn't have really much going for it, let's be totally honest, even though it is a crisp, refreshing Scottish lager. Yeah. What would I give this? It's a slight step down from the usual kind of mainstream piss waters, and the mainstream piss I'm talking about. I think it's kind of bordering on the kind of Forsters. It's hasn't really reached the quality heights of Carling and still at Artois, which are probably around about 3 or 4 kind of out of 10. Yeah, mostly the 3s. So I probably would put this down as a 2. It gets a 1 for basically being alcoholic and unoffensive, and it gets another point because it's cheap. So there you go, it gets 2 out of 10. Would I recommend it? Probably not. I wouldn't recommend it. I certainly wouldn't buy it again myself. But in saying that, some people like cheap lagers. And when I say some people, I'm kind of referring to most beer drinkers in the UK that just go down to the pub, and you get them up and down the country. In Scotland they'll go there and they'll just get the pint of Tennent's or the pint of Carling, and then down in England they'll just go there and get the pint of Carling or whatever and things like that. And yeah, the reason why these beers exist is because they're unoffensive, they're easy to drink, and fairly cheap. And that's it. And so I think this could be along the lines of quite similar. It's unoffensive, it's cheap, it's kind of lagery tasting, and yeah, there's no real kind of chemical flavours or any bad flavours. So yeah, people will say, yeah, okay, right, that's all right, I'll go with that. So yeah, it's a 2 out of 10, but I'm sure basically people up and down the country would actually enjoy it. I don't, and I think a lot of people that view my videos probably wouldn't either, but that's up to you lot and my own prerogative as well. So it's a 2 out of 10. I won't be buying it again, but yeah, my view is, you want to try it, you want to try a crisp, refreshing Scottish lager, then this might be the little boy for you. No, that doesn't actually sound right, actually. Can't recall. I can't, I can't say that word either. The fellow, let's give it a little fellow for you. This is better than little boy. And on that note, thanks for watching. Cheers. And bye for now.